came from.
Well, I guess we'll need to reach out to them and get that fixed, huh?
But we're still having fun, and we're having groups starting to come out again. A lot of events, private parties and things like that. So, but it's just slow getting things going again.
Sure.
I think everybody's still a little bit nervous.
I noticed that you haven't curtailed your activities when it comes to sign collecting, and I don't even know what you call that thing other than it's some sort of oil dispenser that's actually behind you back there. And you were telling me about it, so you need to share that with everybody else because we have a camera that's actually pointed toward that.
Okay, well, actually, my activities will curtail when they plant me in the ground, so I'm not going to slow down one bit. Anyway, okay, so what we have over here is a 1920s premier oil fountain, and the oil fountains are really rare, and you don't see many these days because most of them were melted down for the war effort, World War II. But in the early days, they were at the fanciest gas stations, like in the Northeast, Philadelphia, Detroit, New York, what have you, maybe in the Ohio area. But down in Texas, you wouldn't see something like that. It was still the Wild West in 1920. Even in 1950, when we were young, things were just starting to get
yourself.
going.
I don't know anything about 1950.
Well, you call it an oil fountain, and you told me earlier that it had 6 spigots on it.
That's correct.
Now, is that just for access, or did it offer different viscosities of oil?
Different viscosities, different grades. So you could put whatever, 30 weight, 48 whatever, or heavy gear oil. It was air actuated, so pneumatic. It was quite a fancy machine for 1920. And you don't see very many of them, and so it was a real find when a picker came and brought that to us, and it was a wreck when we got it, and we spent a lot of time and effort to bring it to beyond its over-restored, really.
So underneath it, it has 3 or 6 separate containers.
That's correct.
That the oil is stored in, whatever oil it is. See, I didn't realize back in the 20s that they had I knew there would be a gear oil and an engine oil, but I didn't realize that they had various viscosities of oil back then that they offered.
I think the only person who would know something like that would be Don. He's around
he was back then,
those days. So.
Well, today you got 30 different viscosities.
Sure.
2050 for the Harleys, 30, 530, 020, 016 now.
Oils for the diesels,
right?
And all that.
All
sure.
that.
Yeah. So it's a thing of the past, but quite a neat piece here. And
it's beautiful.
Most people have never heard of an oil fountain. I had not either until recently, in the last 2 or 3 years.
Until the picker showed up.
Until the picker showed up. Wow, that's cool. We're going to fix that.
So I guess for those – so we haven't been out here in a while.
Right.
So I would like to think that we have a few different listeners and viewers of the show that are going, what exactly is the HEMI Hideout? And so I think that we need just a little bit of background on the HEMI Hideout. This is a custom-built
timber frame building.
Yeah, but I was going to say this is the ultimate man cave. Putting it in our terms.
Well, I certainly love it. It's a collection of things of days gone by when we were all young. So when I was a young man, I had a Dodge Super Bee. So that's why it's all Dodge and Plymouth oriented, and oil and gas signs. That's how it started. And then as time goes, it's evolved into a more really a museum of advertisement. We have sporting good things, advertisements. We have tobacco, minerals, dinosaurs, tractors,
Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, soda.
Then your other corner back here with all of the ammunition.
Yes.
And stuff. I know that has not recently, but recently been added to the collection of stuff that you've been gathering. Yeah. It's just, you're right. It is a museum of
advertising. Really.
Advertising, but I don't know of where there may be a better collection of neon.
They're out there. They're out there, but we're proud of what we've got here, and we really are proud of it. So these days, now that we've got it pretty well, it's pretty cozy in here, but there's still room to do a lot of things. But we want to be really selective on what are we adding now, not just adding stuff. It's got to be something special, or take something off the wall to put something else up. It's got to be something, and that's what we're doing now. I was telling you about the Mack truck sign that we got coming, so.
Well, and you said that is the only sign that was ever built of that size.
That's correct.
That came from their production facility in
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
And it's a big neon bulldog, 13.5 feet wide, 11 feet tall, a neon bulldog porcelain. It's cool.
Now, did you find it, or did somebody find it for you and say, hey, John, we got this sign. Would you like it?
Someone posted on Facebook, another guy I know in New Jersey posted, look what I found, and I contacted him, say, I'm your hucklebearer.
So, assuming you were the first person to contact him
No. Several had contacted, but something like that you got to pay pretty precious for, so kind of a limited group of people that would really buy it. And who can display a 13.5 foot by 11?
And that was somebody that you already had a relationship
Yes, sir.
with?
That's right.
Which helps as well.
That's right.
You know, the relationship thing, I think, is giving you an opportunity to build this place
Sure.
with the various stuff you've got.
You know, and a rumor has it that you are actually now, I can't believe this, actually selling some of the collection here and there to make room for bigger and better.
Well, I have, and it's painful to do it, but now that I've gotten my feet wet and
You're
I've got
hooked.
a pretty good return on what I started with, I'm like, wow, this opens up in a whole nother world. So I'm like, this is even better. Go buy some more stuff.
But you said earlier this is giving you an opportunity to upgrade what
Exactly.
you have.
Exactly.
So, you know, from what you have, it may be a little bit more common and you find something quite unique.
Sure.
Replace it and then sell the more common, which is what other people are looking for as well.
Absolutely, yeah. The starter, that's what they're looking for, and that's what I started with. So there's a place for everything. Even the old beat-up, shot-up signs, they have some kind of a romance to them. They look good just as a barn hanger in somebody's tractor barn. They're just cool.
Speaking of tractors,
Yes.
I noticed that we haven't added to the tractors, but we do have a tractor collection back here.
We do, yeah. There's 7 on display here at HEMI Hideout, but we have 19 tractors. They're all stuffed in a barn, and I don't know. I think what I'm going to do is shift gears. Tractors don't have that much interest. I love them, but I think that's something I might phase out and start something new. You know.
What would you replace it with?
I don't know, but there's always something. It's like
Yes, there is.
Yeah, there's always something, and you'll think, okay, we've changed direction so many times here on what we're collecting. It was oil and gas, Dodge and Plymouth. Now it's all kinds of stuff, and it just keeps changing. So
Depends on what catches his fancy at the moment.
whatever's cool.
I don't recall seeing a couple of cars that you have in here. Did you have them stuffed in the barn, or have you actually these new acquisitions?
No, these are the cars that we've had for quite some time. There's been no changes with them, but I have sold a few, but I don't think I'm going to buy any more cars. I think I'm at a point now in my life that it's hard enough to keep all this stuff running, and I'm not driving them as much as I should. So anyway.
Well, if you need somebody to drive them, there's Bill Syson.
Yeah, absolutely. We've done it before.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was going to say, I'm kind of at the point now, we have Autorama coming up
Yes.
at Thanksgiving time, and we may be looking for a display car. And so I thought, well, we could always offer a display car to John Hovis and let him decide what he'd like to display, if he'd like to display something.
Be happy to do that if you just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, John already knows about the rally. He and I talked about it on the on the way in.
Yeah, because he won't get the damned ignition switch fixed.
It's always something with the old cars. It's always something, but that's part of it. Goes with the territory, doesn't it?
Oh, it's been a while, so that's why
Okay.
I'm fading lots of heat about it.
Yeah. No, he's not fading the heat because we're just going to keep giving the heat.
Well,
so there's no fading involved.
There's nothing like torching Conrad. So
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well,
Pour it on.
torching Don is just as much fun.
That's true. So what do you got going on here today? Why are we here?
Well, it's one of our open houses that we try to do 2 or 3 times a year, and we have a lot of fun with it. Car clubs coming. I can't remember exactly who is coming today, but 3 or 4 different car clubs are coming, and then we open to the public because we're normally not open on Saturdays, and that allows the public to bring family and friends here, and it's always a fairly new crowd each time they come. So we love doing it. We love having you guys here, and we appreciate you coming and doing your broadcasts out here. And it'll just be a day of fun like we normally do.
Well, and it always is fun for us to come out here, except for that internet thing, that consolidated thing. We need to get rid of that. We're moving up to the big time out here in Brookshire now, and we need to get,
Well, Mr. Ainsley's going to take care of that.
I know he is. That'd be David Ainsley. I know that he's helped you out here in the past with some sound stuff and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Save me.
Well, so the cars haven't changed, but we've added to the sign collection out here. And I noticed when we pulled in this morning at 6 a.m. that we noticed a large collection, a growing collection of neon out on the back patio.
That's correct. We did. We just hung a new sign yesterday, a big double-sided Budweiser sign from, say, the 1940s, a really cool piece out
My
there.
era.
Your era. And but anyway, it added to it, and it makes it look like a lot more going on out there. But there's room to add things back there and also inside. But we're being selective on what we're adding these days.
So I tried to get you to talk about the actual structure itself, but it just didn't happen. So I think now's the time to talk about the structure.
Okay.
And I'll just let you just go ahead and do it because you do such a good job of explaining the structure.
Well,
because it looks like a church in here.
Yeah, everybody says it looks like a cathedral, and it is kind of a car cathedral, so to speak. It's a 5.5-story tall timber frame building. It's 21,700 square feet. Mr. Seitz and I worked together to get this project off the ground, and actually without Bill Seitz, it would have never gotten off the ground. So I am indebted to Bill for the little shove, and we're both proud. All of us. Many people put heart and soul into this project, especially me and Bill, Shelley Gates, Don Armstrong, Don Looney, excuse me. Don Looney.
I'll take any credit.
Don will take credit for it.
Don Looney in San Diego, California, and many others that helped us design and build and collect these signs, hang them up, restore them. There's just been so many people. So I paid the bills, but so many people have heart and soul and ownership in this place. They've just put so much into it.
And the structure itself is really two parts because you had it designed in one place, and then the timber was actually, whatever you call it, they cut the trees down, harvested, and milled in another place.
That's
and
right.
Then all of that came together out here in Brookshire, Texas.
That's right. So you can't go buy these timbers. There's no store or a lumber yard to go buy these timbers. They're big. The largest pieces are 16-inch square, 38 feet long. They don't use the center of the tree because it weakens the timber. So when you order a building like this, they have to go out and mark trees in the forest, in this case Idaho, cut them down, haul them to California. They rough saw the pieces, the trees, and then put them in these giant kilns and squeeze all the juice and the sap out. And then they ship it to San Antonio, did all the machine work in San Antonio, and then shipped it out here and assembled it. So quite a process. You don't see buildings like this because it's quite a hassle. It's expensive compared to a tilt wall concrete building or a steel building. But look at the background you get when you start hanging. Bill and I knew going in, this is going to look cool. We weren't really sure how it was going to look. We had an idea, but when it started to come together, we're just like, wow, this is beats our wildest dreams.
And where did you learn, or where did you hear of the timber beam buildings? How did that direction? How'd you acquire that direction?
I always wanted to build a log home or some wood something before I get too old. At the time, I was like 55 when I was really talking about doing all this. And I thought, I need to do something now before I get too old because time starts slipping through your fingers. Do something ridiculous and fun before I get too old. This is what I did. And it's fun. It's ridiculous. Sure. It's ridiculous. It's over the top. I'm the first to admit it got out of control, but I'm so proud of it.
It's still out of control.
It's still I'm out of control.
Well, we know that. So from the beginning, once you said, okay, this is what I want to do, and you found the company to do it, how long was that process?
Okay, so we found a company in Vermont Timber Frames, and we were getting ready to pull the trigger with them. That would have ended up being a logistical nightmare because they were going to fly people in on Sunday and fly them home on Friday, and that would have just been a mess. And at the last minute, someone was telling us, a local guy here was telling us about Texas Timber Frames. They're in San Antonio. Now they're in Bernie. But anyway, we contacted them. Bill and I went down there. We decided that day, okay, we're going to do this. We signed a contract, gave a deposit, and from that point to the finish, it was about 2 years and 2 months to get it complete to where we could start decorating. So now it's about 8.5 years it's been done, so to speak, but it's really never going to be done, not as long as I'm alive.
I talked to Bill probably I don't know, a couple of years, actually at the beginning of the thing. Hey, man, I got this friend of mine, and he's going to build this really cool place out there. You really need to, I want you to meet him. Yeah, I remember that conversation, and I thought, oh yeah, sure, whatever, Well, it's Bill Seitz talking, and you know how that goes. We just don't, we don't really. How much do you
Bill's
believe?
Going, why have I ever even talked to him in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Because Bill has a headset and a microphone on, and I think he said one or two words so far.
Well, we're going to talk to him. We just got to. We're going to stretch this out a little bit.
Just letting you guys go on.
Please do. And so, anyway, ultimately, I came out here, and it was early on because I remember walking in here and I thought, well, wow, this is really cool, but it ain't nothing like it is now with all of the signs and the neon and everything. And by the way, speaking of which, it's really difficult to take any kind of a photograph in here on your cell phone because of all of the light.
The colored light.
And the color, it just doesn't quite work out. You really need to have a flash.
That's true.
To make that work. But at any rate, so I guess we go back almost 10 years.
That's right. It's been a beautiful relationship.
It has been beautiful.
And Don's been through a few other relationships in the meantime.
Exactly. I'm just one of many.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm the only one that'll listen, though. The rest of them wouldn't listen.
Well, you're the one that's lasted. The others are gone, long gone.
I deserve a gold medal, evidently.
Apparently so. John was also telling me earlier today that, and I knew because we are Facebook friends, etc., that he has this place out in West Texas. And I said, I never get to see any pictures from out there. I think this is all some sort of a figment of your imagination. You go out there with a little, teepee and a campfire and go out there for a week or two and do some hunting or whatever it is that you do. And he starts showing me pictures of these bass that are like, 30 pounds or, cougars, mountain lions that are 5,000 pounds, these massive things out there that he goes out and hunts. And I'm quite impressed.
That cat you showed us a picture of, that had to be a 200-pound cat, which is just huge.
I think so. You guys are getting off base here, though.
I mean, it's all part of the story. I
suppose.
Yeah, it is. And it's a part of you that I don't know because I've not been out there.
Maybe we could broadcast from out there. We all
Depends
go out
on
there.
whether or not they have internet out there, right?
It's better than Brookshire, I'm sure.
I was going to say, is Consolidated your car carrier out there?
No. I'm not sure what it is, but
you've got internet out there.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, exactly, maybe.
They got sat phones, too.
Yeah, it's pretty primitive out there.
All right, well, let's get back to the cars for a second. HEMI
right.
Hideout. Do you drive any of these cars ever?
I'm getting lazy as I go. I haven't driven any in probably 7 or 8 months, and every time I take them out, there's 4 I can start up now and drive, but if I want to drive the other ones, I got to pull the tanks off, get the gas out, rebuild the carburetor, and I'm like, I'm just seeing
even
like
the race car in the back there?
Yeah, even that race car in the back. There's a few of them I can get in there and drive, but I'm getting lazy, Don. I'm getting old.
Yeah, and it's like, I drove that thing for several years, and it just looks good sitting there. I don't want to have to do all the work to get it going down the street.
Well, now the car shows are coming here, and I don't have to go to the car shows.
Well, there's that.
And so I don't know. It's just my problem is I'm ADHD big time. This is a direct reflection of how I operate. And so the cars were very important to me, like they were to all of us when we were younger. So I love the cars. They're the reason for the building. But, man, I'm on this sign thing now. I just love this memorabilia stuff. And I've just changed directions, but I still love the cars.
Well, and when we opened the show, we talked about the car fountain. But when I walked in the door, we kind of talked oil fountain, excuse me. But when we also talked about you've added to the collection of the flange signs.
That's correct.
That you said you've added a couple of 100 flange signs.
Well, explain what a flange sign is. I didn't even know what that was.
Okay, so you see this right here, this little sign right here that's got the little bend on. It's on a post there.
Yeah.
That's a flange sign.
Okay.
So over here in this area, we've added like 200 signs, but I bet Bill hasn't even noticed it. You wouldn't notice it because there's so much going on, but I added like 200 in the last 2 or 3 months.
I can't keep up.
I know. Well, do you come out here often?
Not very much.
Well,
the last year or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, I try to come out any excuse I can get. I'll take it.
Do you still go hunting with John? I know you've been one of his hunting partners for the stuff that fills the building.
Have not been in a while, but I'm overdue for a trip, I think.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, we're headed to Montana. We're going to deliver a sign to Montana here in next few days. I got to get it delivered this month. Red Lodge, Montana. That's just north of Yellowstone. So I got to deliver up there, and then we'll make another run, try to find some more stuff while we're on the road.
On the way back?
That's right.
John Hovis,
Yes, sir.
The host here at the HEMI Hideout. We thank you very much for inviting us to come out and spend the time this open house Saturday, and we appreciate it.
I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate the friendships and the connection here. It's priceless. Thank you all.
Thank you. And Bill Seitz, you don't move because you're next.
Got it.
Huh?
Got it.
Okay, very good. You're on the In Wheel Time car show, and we thank you. And we assume that everything is going well down there on the other end of the end of the spectrum.
Yes.
Nobody has a headset on down there, so I'm thinking, oh, they're doing engineering stuff, and I need to just go ahead and shut up.
Please.
So, Mr. Mars, I wanted to do your band race cars, but that's going to be right after Conrad talks about the events calendar.
Well, typically it's Saturday nights is Nifty 50s up at Grogan's Mill, the Kema Car Meet. Tomorrow is, this afternoon is Coffee and Cars, I'm sorry, blew that. Next weekend.
Let me have it. Let me read it for
weekend
you. Start over.
Next weekend is Coffee and Cars in Beaumont at 3805 East 10th Street, and that's from 11 to 2 p.m. Tomorrow, Sunday, is HPD's Twin Peaks meet in Webster.
HPD meaning Houston Performance Driving, not Houston Police Department.
Yeah, and
we need to straighten that
they're
out.
having their Twin Peaks meet in Webster. Muscle Car meet is Sunday night at the Kroger's on 99 East up in Spring. And then Friday is the 24th through the 26th is the Good Guys Lone Star meet up at Texas Motorplex. And that's definitely one of the biggest meets in the country up there. And it'll be everybody going up from Houston and San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, coming down from Oklahoma City.
Let me borrow yours.
What's the problem down there? We can hear you just fine.
Saturday
yes,
the
we can hear you.
And then Saturday the 25th is Woody's third annual Waterfront Car Show at Topwater Grill in San Leon, Texas, and we'll be there broadcasting live as well.
You know, I meant to mention to John before he left that what we need to do is we need to have a HEMI Hideout car show. You know, and I think that Bill Seitz should be the head judge, a judged car show here at the HEMI Hideout. Not inside, but outside. The grounds are beautiful. The grass is cut. It'd be a great, great thing. And, you know, it started at sunup, and it ends at sundown with a great big country dance out there somewhere. What do you think? I think it's a great idea, and I'm always willing to spend somebody else's money and probably put you in your grave, because at this point in your life, you know.
We're about the same age. And you got a judge, too, and then we'll dance that evening.
All right, Mr. Mars.
But who will lead?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Mr. Mars, it is your turn, and you've put this off long enough. It's a feature that Mr. Mars came up with that he wanted to get on, so now's the time. Banned race cars, and we're all dying to hear about it.
Well, great, because I'm dying to tell you about this particular one. Everybody's heard of Mark Donahue. I mean, he was a famous race car driver. He drove in all kinds of places, such as the Trans Am, the Indy 500, the NASCAR, the Can-Am Porsches, the IROC, even the F1. Is where this guy built his reputation.
Drove for Penske.
Drove for Penske. So one of the things that he did, and this is really what caught my attention, they with teaming with Penske, they did a lot of experimental things, shall we say. One of them was like a pressurized oil filling system, so that if you needed to put oil in the car during a pit stop, it was pressurized, so you didn't have to just pour it and let it gravity feed. You could pressurize it and get it in there quicker. Had an experimental cross-ram intake, a 2x4 on this 302 Z28, 420 horsepower. So they had lots of things. And one of the things they did with their 1967 Camaro Z28, they brought this car out, and what he did, he just rolled over everybody that season. Came out, won the first 3 of 12 races in the Trans Am series. And then they came back the next year in the same car, literally got into one of the endurance races, like the 12 Hours of Sebring or the 24 Hours of Daytona, where they were running this car, literally lapped the entire field during the race. But when he did that, the judges were already looking at him because he was winning so great. Well, now he's just literally lapped the entire field. So they said, we got to look at this car.
He must be cheating.
So they start looking at his car, and they take him through the inspection. Come to find out, what they had done, the car was 250 pounds lighter than what it was supposed to be. He had taken 250 pounds out of this car. Literally had the body acid dipped to take the weight off. Wouldn't let anybody touch the car. Literally, you could dent the fenders by pushing on it with your finger because the metal was so thin. So he came up with, the car was real flexible and stuff, so for safety reasons, he put a roll cage in it just like NASCAR has. First guy to do that in the Trans Am Series. Well, what he had to do, he had to stiffen the car back up because he had taken so much of the strength out of it by taking out the body panels. But he did that. So they checked his car, and they said, nope, this car's banned. No more, no good. So that car was out. So they come back next year. They built a 1968 Camaro. And they come back out, Penske and them, they come back to the races. They got a 1968 Camaro and a 1967 Camaro that they're running as a team. Painted identical. One was number 15, one was number 16. They get to the race. They unload. They get there late. So they're at the back of the garage area as far away from everybody as they could possibly be.
On purpose.
Well, I'm just saying, this is the story. And so they take the new car, the 1968 Camaro, they run it through tech. Goes through tech, passes perfectly. Bring it back around to the garage. They get to the garage. They take the numbers off the 68, and they put it on the 67. Now, they've already put a 68 grill, 68 taillights, and anything else they can onto the 67 to make it look like a 68. Then they take and put those numbers on the 68, off of the 67. They run the 68 back through, disguised as the 67 car.
Cheating.
And when they get through, and it worked, and they get back around to the garage, and they put the numbers on the right cars, and they put both of them out there in the race. That's how great these guys were at doing this kind of stuff. And I just found that was so once they kind of caught them doing that, then they said, okay, you know, they figured out everybody else started doing the acid dipping on the body and stuff, so it does take the weight off. And even with the roll cage in it, so now they got to where they can put weight in certain specific. They got 250 pounds.
Balance the car.
Where they think they need that weight to make the car handle better. And that's how they got into all this stuff they're doing now. So these guys were engineers, and they figured out basically how to cheat, but it's also led to all these innovations that they've got now.
And I heard that when they came out with the 69 Camaro, again, the same Penske blue number 6 car that Donahue drove, they had to put a vinyl top on it because of the distortion in the roof and the C-pillar, because they'd acid dipped it so much that they couldn't get it to look smooth, so they put a vinyl top on it to hide the fact that
they put the vinyl top on it because it looked better.
Oh, okay.
It looked better
officially
commercially.
it looked better.
Officially, yeah. It looked better for the commercial, for the Chevrolet sponsorship.
Great story. Hey, the In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast provider. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
Let me tell you about a locally owned and operated group of dealerships called Bayway. Bayway owner Daryl Wisniewski is born and raised right here, and he knows Houstonians better than anyone. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, Bayway Lincoln, and Bayway Chevrolet are managed by Lincoln Stahl. And when you get to know these guys, you'll want to become part of the Bayway family too. Feel good that you're part of Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com, BaywayChevrolet.com, and BaywayLincoln.com. Remember the name, Bayway. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly cruise-in, returns Saturday, September 18th at the Southwest Freeway Kirby location of Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and you're invited. Collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods will all be on display. If you're a Katy cruiser, make it a road trip, meet new friends, and see some different cruisers at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex restaurant inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. This is Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, inside the Loop at the Loopy Tortilla on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby, where you'll see the In Wheel Time Car Show. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, September 18th, 8 to 11 a.m., weather permitting. The next Katie Tailpipes and Tacos will be announced soon. We hope to see you next weekend at the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on the Southwest Freeway at Kirby. Be there. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The in-wheel time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.